This is Shaun Sport in podcast form.
The only place to watch every game of every round live and ad-break free during play is with Fox Footy on KO Sports. We're about to catch up with Ruby Schleicher, who's a WA girl.
Yes.
In fact, she used to play basketball down at the Willetton Tigers. Come on, 6155.
Plus she played at
She's an
East
East
Freo.
Fremantle girl. Good morning, Rubes.
Good morning, guys. Geez, you've done your research. That feels like a long time ago now.
Oh, yeah, no, we're watching
mate,
you
my
now.
crew-
Before Google, we'd have to go to the library and check that out.
Yeah, we
It would
would.
take ages. Hey, we've been talking about your name, the pronunciation of your last name, because
Yeah.
you've got one of those names where we think we know what it is and then we don't know how to say it. So what is it
Honestly,
officially?
There's just a bunch of letters in there that shouldn't be there. It's Schleicher. So
Schleicher.
you've nailed it when you said it, but it has been seriously butchered before. But you guys nailed it.
Okay, so because I
Yeah.
had a friend at uni, and their last name was Bior, and his last name was Bior, and he would go by Bior, and then his brother would go by Bauer, and it's spelt the same. And that
Right.
was really
I find
interesting
that
out of the
so-
same
it-
household.
Bloody oath it is. I wonder, because you said the same, Nat, and I wonder, don't your parents say this is your name?
Yes.
I
and this
think
is how
I
you
think
say
so,
it?
I think some
So why would
names
someone
there is a
change it?
westernised version, and some names people stick to the traditional saying, and then I think those two they just chose a different camp.
So, Ruby, people must mispronounce your name all the time, though, do they?
All the time,
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't even know that we're saying it correctly because it's German.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
but we've got, we're pretty detached from that.
Yes.
It's very far back, so I'm not even sure we're saying it right. So
But you know
we've
what it
kind of
is?
gone with Schleicher.
You've got one of those names where it looks like it's all the letters on a Scrabble board. It's a tile
high
you've got ready to
scorer.
go. Yeah.
Someone's just thrown it together and gone with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Rubes, I want to talk about the footy. I've got to say, on the weekend, it was a great moment because if you're watching Fox or KO, you would have been able to see one of the great games on Saturday night, which was Geelong and Collingwood going head-to-head.
Oh, yeah.
On the other station, we had, for our WA people, you could watch the West Coast Eagles in Melbourne. If you do not have KO or Fox, you don't get to see any of that stuff. So were you doing one of the games on Saturday night?
I actually had Saturday night off. I
Ooh.
worked Friday night for the Freo Saints, which was Susie.
Sorry.
So I would have preferred to work Saturday, but had Saturday off and then was in Sydney for the Battle of the Bridge on Sunday. So I got to sit back, relax and enjoy that game. But, geez, it was a ripper, wasn't it? I mean, a few controversial moments. I'm not saying that just because I play for Collingwood,
Yeah,
but I
I know.
think everyone was scratching their head a little bit. But
It was a goal.
that's just why you love the footy, isn't it?
Well, the thing is, we discovered that pies travel well, and that's why they invented the traveller pie, Sean.
Yeah,
The
so
traveller
which
pie.
Yeah.
makes Sean
Yeah,
nervous
yeah,
for this
yeah. So-
Thursday, obviously.
Am I right to say that you, on a day off from commentating footy, watch footy?
Well, yeah, I'm a bit of a footy nuff like that.
That's great.
well,
That means you
just
love
gotta-
what you
don't
do.
know what's that?
That means you love what you do, because I'm telling you what, I'm not listening to the radio when I'm not.
No, exactly. But no, it's good. I mean, playing footy, watching footy,
Yeah,
it's all good.
lucky.
Like, geez, I've got a pretty good job just talking footy for a living. It's not that bad, is it? It's not that hard. I'm not saving lives.
Yeah, it's not the hardest in the world. Hey, Rubes, coming through the ranks at Shark Park, how did it end up that you were playing for Collingwood?
I was freshly 18 and Nikki Harwood, or Webber we call her, she was one of our assistant coaches at East Freo at the time, and she actually got picked up to be the midfield coach at Collingwood for the first ever AFLW season. And she wanted to bring me across with her, flagged it to the head coach at Pies, and they had no idea who I was because, I'd played 1 year of state and I was pretty rubbish, didn't do much. And then they were like, righto, we'll pick her up. Drafted me as a utility, played undersized ruck the first year, so that was a doozy.
Yeah, I know.
And then, didn't do anything for the first 4 years, really, but managed to finally hit my straps, and it's all been worthwhile, which is good.
Hey, Ruby, I love the way you speak. I really do. And back in the day when people were given a chance on television, you'd have to go and do media training. So after Big Brother, we were all offered media training. They teach you how to be on TV, and none of us took it. But have you ever been offered media training? Because you don't need it either. And they used to get rid of this Australianism, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, is this you trying to say that I clearly haven't had it? Because you're correct.
No, because it just sounds so natural and authentic.
Authentic, good word.
You know, I actually haven't had,
love
proper sit-down media training, but I did do an internship with Fox Sports News for 2 years.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So that's they've been great because they've allowed me to be myself while fine-tuning and polishing. I mean, you can't polish a turd. But you can try.
You can put some tinsel on it.
But it's been really good. They've been brilliant in supporting me while still allowing me to sort of bring my own personality
Don't
to
ever
it
lose
as well.
it, Ruby. It's hilarious.
Thanks, guys.
Now, Rubes, you're going to have a trot around again with the Collingwood women's team this year?
Sure am.
Yeah.
We just obviously found out last night that we'll be opening the season.
Oh,
You will be.
hello.
Against
Carlton.
Carlton at Icon Park,
Yes.
August 14, Thursday night footy. So that's very exciting. We've sort of been doing voluntary sessions since Feb, and we're back to pre-season Monday coming. So we're all looking forward to that. It feels a bit like Groundhog Day this time of year, where you're just itching to get into it and get full numbers there. So very looking forward to it.
Now, Ruby, I've been slightly invested in the Collingwood women's team over the last season, at least, which is weird for somebody in Perth to say who's not a Collingwood fan. Because
Particularly when we were wooden spooners.
yes, I didn't want to bring that up. So we've got higher hopes for the next season. But my mate's daughter plays with you, Lucy Cronin, who I went to
that's
uni.
unreal.
Yeah, Lucy the Goose. She got picked up in the draft, went number 9,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. So when you know
fantastic.
somebody, you start to really pay attention. And you didn't have the greatest season last season, but bigger and better this year.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, firstly on Luke, she is an absolute jet. I'm very close with Luke. We're Pilates buddies this off season, so we're very close. She's a gem. I mean, to come in your rookie season and get runner-up best and fairest as an 18-year-old is pretty special.
That's good.
So she was definitely a shining light for us last year. But no, absolutely. I mean, it's no secret we got some exciting recruits coming in. Number 1 draft pick, Ash Centra. I think she's just going to be someone that comes in and makes an immediate impact. Not to put pressure on the kid, but she's just the way she plays is just exciting to
Get her on
watch.
the back of the West, Shaun. Get her on the back of the West.
Training, and she broke my ankles at training. I slipped over in the mud, and I thought, "Oh God, here we go. This is what it's going to be like from now on." But no, really exciting, and I mean, we're just excited to have the opportunity to open the season and try to climb our way back up the ladder.
Well, she's going to be a champion, by the way, because the draft now has become a proper
it has.
draft
Yeah.
where Collingwood were able to get that number 1 pick, and the level of girls coming through the ranks now is just getting better and better.
Has
are
there
amazing.
been a Harley Reid version from the person that they're going, oh my God, this is her?
Well, there's going to be one that comes up because people are getting better and
Wonder
better.
who she's
But
gonna
for me, in the AFL women's competition, Erin Phillips was the best player that I've seen come into the comp. And that was the early days. And she was at such a high level professionally because she played basketball.
Mine was
Yes.
Ruby
At that level.
Schleicher.
Internationally,
And
yeah.
Ruby's the
It was
next,
Ruby
obviously.
Schleicher.
She's a shark. And she's a Willerton
Thanks, guys.
Tiger. So we're right
You
behind.
know what? I loved Erin, especially because she was a basketballer and I was a basketballer.
Yeah.
Erin at AFL level, the best player I've ever seen. But at Waffle, still the best female player I've ever seen play live is a Swan Districts girl, the name of Kirby Bentley, who got drafted, played a bit of footy in WA, went over to Melbourne, played in Melbourne. And her, the Indigenous player, her at Swan Districts, I remember rocking up as an 18-year-old going, oh, my God, I have to verse her. And I've never seen anyone move as silky as her. And she was probably just that sort of on the edge of girls that, it was a bit late in their career when AFLW started, but I reckon if it started 5 years old earlier, she would have ripped the game apart.
She went on to be on Survivor, yeah? That's that Kirby, yeah?
Yeah, she came third or something on
This
Survivor.
is amazing.
Oh, right, of
And
course.
it's really, you touched on something. Shaun says that I move silky as well.
Very.
Very silky. Yeah.
That's what I've heard. I've heard that from over here too.
Like a
Love
Hey,
your work,
Rubes,
Ruby.
really appreciate your
You're
work.
doing a great job. Keep it
Thank
up.
you guys. Appreciate it.
Shaun Sport in podcast form.
Just want to go over to Switzerland to kick things off.
Amazing.
The IOC head of house over there, and Gary Hall, which is a famous American swimmer.
Gary Hall Jr. Yep.
He lost 10 Olympic medals in the fires in January over in Los Angeles.
Okay.
They all burnt
right,
down. They
yeah.
burnt down, Nate.
How much gold is in those medals?
That's a really
It
good
would probably
point.
vary from game to
Yeah, it does.
games
It
to
varies.
I
games.
wonder how
Point
much
to
melted
point.
out and if you could find that.
Yeah, well, he had remnants of a couple of,
Yeah.
crappy medals, obviously. But Thomas Back, who was the IOC president at that stage, he said he'll get them replaced. And he had a ceremony yesterday, and they did replace the 10 medals,
That's
which I think is
lovely.
really nice.
So
Yeah.
I'm guessing they'd
You've
have
earned
X
them.
amounts of spare when they were doing the original pressings. Otherwise, you'd have to go and get the original pressings
Yes.
done.
Yeah.
And remember, each part is like, say just the Paris Games would have gone, they've got a bit of the Eiffel Tower in them. So I wonder how many spare they've got for times
Yes,
like this.
because they would
You
have to
know
have
that?
spares too in case there's ties and that sort of thing. Yeah.
Not spares, but each gold medal at the Paris Olympics was 500 grams, and it contained 6 grams of pure gold.
Can you type into the Googs
the Google?
How many spare medals each Olympics makes in case of incidents?
I'll work on that. I'll get back to me in a second.
Okay, keep going. So we know the price of gold's gone through the roof because the currencies around the world have taken a massive hit. Mate, that's bloody good going. You'd want those medals back. But I just think it's really nice. And, Gary Hall Jr. was one of those people from the US who we love to hate, right?
He used to kiss his guns.
Yeah, all the time. And he won the 50-metre sprint and all that kind of stuff.
He had all the angst between Thorpe in that at the Sydney Olympics. That was a little bit of, that really fired up the rivalry between the two.
And it's amazing because you hate all these people, and then when you finish, you realise that they were just doing it for the whole show.
Have you ever kissed your guns?
Yes.
Probably.
Sure, I've actually said to you several times, get your gun out of your mouth, to be honest.
Oh, no, when I used to do wrestling, if you go over to Rove's house back in the day, we used to wrestle all the time because he's a WWF fan, and that was part of the deal.
Well, I mean,
so the Warrior, the Ultimate Warrior, Nate, do you remember him?
Yeah, I'm an idiot.
Or Randy Macho Man Savage, who kisses guns, I
don't. For kissing guns,
you
need the guns to come up and then your face to meet in the middle. I don't have the guns that come up, so my face just goes halfway through.
You don't have enough flexibility in your neck to get there.
Get ghosted by your guns.
I get ghosted by my guns.
Sam, have you got any information on that?
Sure do. At the 2020 Olympics, this is from Reddit, so grain of salt.
Okay, so it's all true.
They said 1,080 medals were given out at the regular Olympics, and that 2,400 were made for the Paralympics, but that they had about 5,000 in total. So they've got about 1,600 spare.
Oh, that's not bad. And I think over a lifetime, 1,600 athletes aren't going to have house fires.
You can't tell me.
And if there are, then you have to look after that arsonist.
Yeah.
I've been to the Olympic Museum in Lausanne, and they have part of the displays. They have their medals from every single Olympic. So,
so there's some from museums.
You know that it's getting desperate maybe if they then start taking them out of that display. But they've got them there. So there is one of every one in reserve.
I was going to say, you can't tell me some of these people at the IOC are just pocketing a medal from here and there.
I'd take a medal.
I'd whack it on eBay.
I'd take a medal.
Yeah,
if there's something here at Nova and there's heaps of it, we all take it.
Absolutely.
Remember Mars Bar balls?
Now, changing sports just for a second, I was watching AFL 360 yesterday because I knew they'd hop into the Fremantle Dockers in a massive way, which they did.
And you wanted to watch that, yep.
Yeah, it gets to a point where you go, once I've said all the shows are saying stuff about Freo, you've got to turn it off because you take it personally. Well, I do anyway. Yeah. So anyway, that said, they were horrible. Everyone was having a dip. The one thing that was interesting last night, Jared Waitley and Gary Lyon were at the desk and they were talking about an incident that happened between Port Adelaide and the Western Bulldogs. And it was Willie Rioli who got in a bit of a scuffle all day long with the guy he was playing against, Bailey Dale. They were hitting each other the whole time.
It was, and
that happens in games. You're up against someone and it's one of those things is he gives you one, you give him one, and it's just...
And Port Adelaide got absolutely smoked by the Bulldogs too. Let's not gloss over that.
So Willie Rioli then ends up sending Bailey Dale.
The Daily Mail.
Daily Mail. Bailey Dale a message, I think it was via Instagram, but basically says,
also
if you're up in Darwin...
his mate Kurth Shaw.
Yeah.
If you're up in Northern Territory, be careful. You wouldn't want to go out of your door. But you'll hear it from Jared Waitley. Okay. The AFL
it's a threat.
didn't guess.
It's a proper threat.
He threatened him. Now, this is what's taking place.
Rioli took exception to being body checked. The next morning, he sends a message to a teammate of Bailey Dale, which essentially says, when you get to Darwin, don't be leaving the hotel. Which was interpreted as what it was, which was a threat. So the AFL looked into this during the day, and they've come back with nothing. Just a reminder to both clubs to ensure that any communications remain respectful. So Willie Rioli did apologise. So that's the key part to it. Had he not apologised, then maybe we're in different territory. And I think in a different circumstance, this is a straight-up suspension. If you're sending a player the day after a game, you can go and sit for a while.
They're right. The day after is the thing. It's more calculated and more, it's not in the heat of the moment.
The thing about it is we do a thing here every year called compliance training, and that is to learn the radio laws that have probably been changed by Kyle Sandilands in the last 12 months. To be honest,
So true,
we have to
Nathan.
go in there and learn it. We hear examples and stuff like that, and that really borders on the inciting violence.
Yes.
So we could, none of us ever could name someone or see a court case or whatever and go, I hope they're staying at the so-and-so hotel and I hope they get what they deserve. That someone can take that as you leading them to go and do something and you inciting violence against them. So
Yes.
it's very touchy with that.
But
Well,
also
I think it's not. I just think the AFL, if they're going to treat everyone the same,
have
they
to-
should be
have to
able
be
to.
strong
They should
with it.
come
Look,
down on
like
Willie,
we
and
are.
he should
We
learn
are.
his lesson. That's
Yeah.
no problem. And I
Oh, it's
understand
outrageous.
from the AFL perspective. No, I don't understand. The AFL probably thought, Willie's been in the paper and he's been in the headlines a lot lately because there was a Hawthorn saga that went on
Yes.
a few weeks ago.
Yep.
And that doesn't excuse behaviour
No,
going
it doesn't.
forward.
It doesn't.
You
And
cut him for slack for all kinds of other
You're
reasons.
a
No problem at
professional
all.
footballer. You know the deal. You can't be making threats like
No,
that.
that's right.
But-
People like in the shadows.
That's right.
And there's no
you
evidence.
Whisper it
That's
in
where
their
I do my
ear
best
when
threats.
no one else can
Like
hear
with
it.
Shaun will wake up sometimes. I'm in his ear going,
Yeah.
"You're dead," and then he turns the lights on and we're gone. No
Yeah,
evidence.
that's
No evidence.
No evidence.
You're bloody good, mate.
Thank you.
So, Willie Rioli, take a leaf out of
Very
Nathan's
lucky.
book.
He's
Is what
very
we're gonna
lucky.
Take away from that.
Shaun Sport is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcast.com.au.